All right, welcome back. So today we're going to start Racial Literacy Part 3. I'm no longer calling it racism because I think it is bigger. Racial literacy is a better title, and we already know what this word means. Today we are going to talk about England and how they ruled over India, the impacts of that. And India is only an example. England did this to many, many countries. Okay, so let's start. So this is India. The contents, we're going to talk about a brief history, maybe not so brief, long history. We were going to go over some questions that you are going to answer, vocabulary words, and then we will, I think, watch 2 videos, I believe, and then you're going to do a quiz. So please make sure you have your pen and your notebook or paper. As usual, you are going to be writing for this video. So anyway, this is India. It is bordered by China. They don't have good relationship. Okay, China and India do not like each other. It is also bordered by Pakistan, Nepal, and Bangladesh, and also Myanmar all the way to the east. This is over here is Southeast Asia. All of this is South Asia, including Sri Lanka. Okay, but we're going to talk mainly about India today. So, yeah. As a reminder, this is how big the British Empire is. At some point, it even had parts of US, but this is when US was already independent from the UK. England, okay? So again, big parts of Africa, okay? This is Nigeria over here, English-speaking country. Over here, where I am at, is New Zealand, okay? Australia, this is Papua New Guinea. That movie, Pirates of the Caribbean, remember, is over here in the Caribbean. This, I believe, is, I forgot what it is called, Guyana, right? Yeah, and they speak English there too. Yemen and Oman. Oh, yeah. Oman and Yemen, they also conquered what is West Asia or the Middle East, but we're going to talk about South Asia today. Also, okay, lastly, they conquered what is now Malaysia and Singapore. And over here, if you see the dot there, that is Hong Kong. Okay, all of them are English-speaking territories, countries, cities. Okay, yeah, Hong Kong was that part of China that they took, and of course Canada. Again, this is the British Empire. So I put this up to show you how big it was. Okay, and the question is, how did Europe become rich? Or how did England, UK become rich? So yeah, let's look at how rich they are. Okay, over here is how much money one person makes, okay, or per capita. I think this is PPP. Per capita parity, okay? So how powerful the money is, okay? So dark blue is between 64,000 USD and 120,000 USD. Rich people are from United States, yes, and this is Norway and Ireland, okay? And notice how this map is in 2021, so it's very recent, very recent. Okay, next, rich countries are here. South Korea is around this sort of still high income, all right? High income country, South Korea, Japan, okay, Russia is part of this club, Australia, so also most of Europe, okay, and Canada. Okay, and then the lower you go, the poorer you become. Okay, look at the poorest countries. These people make $1,000 to $2,000 for 1 year, and they're mainly in Africa. So why is Africa poor, right? And Europe so rich? And how did Europe become so rich? India, Philippines are sort of middle-income economies. Okay, they're the ones making from $8,000 to $16,000 a year. Okay, this is mostly Southeast Asian countries. They're not very poor, but they are poorer than high-income countries. Yes. Okay, so again, mainly white countries are very rich, and a few Southeast Asian countries. A few East Asian, Northeast Asian countries as well. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Where did England get all its money? Where? I think you already know the answer to this. Okay, some vocabulary words we need to remember is GDP. We will use this vocabulary word a lot. GDP, or gross domestic product. It is the size of a country's economy. Okay, how big the economy of a country is. Okay, and we are going to watch a video, and we are going to see what happened to India's economy, India's GDP. Yeah. All right. And at some parts, I will stop. Okay. Oh, 1 moment. Let me grab. So this is in the very beginning. This is around 1606. How's it, 16, 17, 18, 19, more than 400 years ago. The richest country in the world, the richest area in the world is China, a Great Ming, and then this is India. So the two richest countries in the world 400 years ago was China and India, and the Ottoman Empire. This is Eastern Europe, right? And then the Roman Empire. So there are these are not countries yet, okay? But again, China was number 1 and India was number 2. Very rich, very big, okay? Now, let's skip over to 1 minute and 15 seconds, okay? Okay, and then China, and then look at India. It is becoming poorer and poorer. Okay, but England is becoming richer and richer. See? Okay. Becoming poorer still. What is happening to India? And England is getting richer. Right? Oh, look what happened. Okay, India drops out. Okay, and it is now the British East India Company. This is when England, okay, took over India. They conquered India. Okay, they ruled India, basically. So they turned India into the British East India Company. This is now under British rule. Okay, and look how rich they are. Okay, so I want to go backwards. 잠시만요. Over here. This is the last king of India, or the Shah. Okay, this is the last, and this is the British people. I think they killed him, or at least they dethroned him. Okay, the last king of India. Okay, back here. So now, India is now under British rule, so this is now British English money, okay, coming from India. Let's keep watching. 잠시만요. What else do we go from here? Let's go to 340, okay? So China is still the biggest economy in the world in 1860 something, right? And England or Britain is now number 2 through India. UK is here, they are here and here, okay? And United States is number 3, becoming a world power. 네. United States is becoming rich. British is also becoming rich, okay? England is becoming rich here and here. But look, England is becoming richer and India under British rule is becoming poorer. See? And then look over here around 18, what was it? What year is this? 1812? 18 something. Okay, United States become number 1 in the world and China is no longer. China also becomes poor. Okay, and England becomes, I think, number 2. Yeah. And then look. Okay? And US just becomes richer and richer and richer into the 1900s. And let's see. And let's now skip over to 4 minutes. Okay, over here, yeah. That's where we are. And then UK becomes richer than even India under British rule. Okay, and Germany also because they have colonies too in parts of Africa. Okay. But US becomes richer and richer, the number 1 world power still. Let's now skip over to 712. Okay, so this is the 20th century. America becomes really powerful, okay? And then Soviet Union becomes number 2. This is, I think, in the 1970s, right? And then Japan, after the World War II, starts to modernize. So, yeah, Japan becomes number 2 in the world, and America does not like this. Okay, and then later on, China comes back, I believe. Yeah, later on, that's Japan, and now Japan is still going. Okay, number 2 in the world, and then later on, China around 2009. China becomes number 2, richest. So China comes back where we are now. Okay, and India is back too, but it is still poor. UK is still here, okay? And then where we are now, much later, okay? India, around now, okay, this is where we are now. India is now richer as a whole. It is still a poor country according to GDP per capita for every person in India is still poorer than a person in UK. But India as a whole country is now richer than the UK again. So it's coming back. Okay. Anyways, I love talking about GDP and size of economy of a country, right? So that is a brief history. Okay, India was once richest country in the world, right? And then because of England, it became one of the poorest, and only now it is coming back. Okay, same thing with China. So let's go back here. Okay, so they say that the 1800s or the 19th century is the British century, English century, okay? The 1900s or 20th century is called the US century, This one, where we are now, the 2000s or the 21st century is going to be called the Asian century, okay? Because all the money in the world is coming back to Asia. So, in 2050, these are going to be the largest economies in the world, the richest countries in 2050. Number one is going to be China. Okay. Number two is going to be India. India in 2016 is number 3. Really? I think they're actually number 4 now. But in 2050, they will be number 2. US will be number 3. So US is not going to be number 1 world power. Indonesia will be number 4. Japan will go down to number 8. Okay, I think Korea, which is now number 10 or 12, is going to go down to 18. And Philippines and Vietnam will be around the same size as South Korea. So Southeast Asian countries, Southeast Asian countries are going to become richer, like Philippines, Vietnam, and Indonesia. Okay. So they are calling it the Asian century because look how many Asian countries are going to be in the top 20 economies in the world, right? 1, 2, 3, Iran is Asia. 4, Pakistan. 5, okay. 6, Saudi Arabia. Turkey is Europe, 6, right? 7, Japan. 8, Indonesia, India 9, and China 10. So 10 economies of the top 20 will be Asian. Okay, richest countries in the world in 2050. So this is why they call it the Asian century. Nigeria is going to be richest country in Africa. Okay, along with I believe Egypt, Nigeria and Egypt. Yeah. Anyway, so Portugal is no longer here. Europe is going to go down. Okay, and UK used to be number 1, right? Is now number 10. So moving ahead, let's go back to UK, England. So where did England get all its money? Okay, today, India's annual income per capita per person, one person in India makes 2,600 or 3,300,000 won. Okay, and today the UK's annual income, one person in UK or one person in England makes $46,000 or 58 million won. Okay. So, let's talk about the British royal family. They are the rulers of England. Okay, they are the royal family. The net worth of the British royal family is estimated at 28 billion or 35 trillion won. They are the rulers. Okay, very old family. There's also some racism. What happened to her? Right, she is a black woman that married into the royal family, and they were very racist towards her using the media, and now she went back to America with Prince Harry. So this used to be Queen of England, but now she is dead. She died this year in 2023. So now this is King Charles. He is now king. Okay? And when he dies, he will be king. Okay? So this is the British royal family. They are very rich. You say, wow, they work very hard. Where did they get their money? They got it from places like India. They got it from places like China. They stole, okay? And of course, slave trade, enslaved Africans from the US. Yeah. Again, British royal family, this is very racist. This is a very racist picture because he is king, he is white, and this is them visiting the Caribbean, I think, okay? And this is a very bad image to them because they think, they are white and they're being carried by people from the islands, people that they conquered, okay? Very racist. This is not good. Okay, I think they were visiting former or current British colonies. This is in the Caribbean, like Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. So let's also go over the story of the Koh-i-Noor diamond. The story of the Koh-i-Noor diamond. Okay, 잠시만요. So let's pay attention to this story, okay? Because this diamond is now in the royal family, okay? And let's watch this video. So I want to ask you, where did the Koh-i-Noor diamond come from? Where is it now? Okay? And it was stolen from India, okay? This family now has it. They took it when they conquered India, okay? So this is a brief video, short video. Let's watch it.
Carries with it legacy, carries with it death, devastation, beauty. This incredible jewel has not just been passed down through generations, it's been stolen, it's been fought over, it's gone through all manner of chicanery and skullduggery to get it to its current point. It carries with it a curse because of its sheer history of death and deprivation.
The Koh-i-Noor, 105 carats, oval-shaped, and arguably the world's most famous diamond. Today, it's set among 2,800 other stones in the crown jewels, but it hasn't always been there. Thousands of years ago, a diamond was sifted from the sand of India's alluvial mines. Its splendor was beguiling, so much so that by 1635 it was adorning the throne of Mughal ruler Shah Jahan among a glittering sea of rubies, emeralds, and pearls. The Mughals retained power in India for a century after the throne was created, but soon the country's vast riches became famous, and Persian ruler Nader Shah decided it was time to invade. In 1739 he entered Delhi and stole so much treasure it took 700 elephants, 4,000 camels, and 12,000 horses to pull it. The throne was among his loot. For the first time in its existence, the Koh-i-Noor left India. Shah removed the diamond from the throne and placed it on an armband which he wore. The diamond lived in a country that would become Afghanistan for the next 70 years, passing between rulers in blood-soaked battles. By 1813, it was back in India and in the possession of Sikh ruler Ranjit Singh.
It has passed down through a myriad of dynasties, of invaders in India, of rulers who had kingdoms and fiefdoms there. And all these dynasties were marked on its resplendent beauty, its sheer size, its scale. They all sort of coalesced around one vision, which was that this was a simply beautiful piece of jewelry and an incredible natural resource that they all sought to shape within their own worldview to fit their dynasty, their empire.
Soon, the British East India Company heard rumour of a priceless piece of treasure called the Koh-i-Noor and set their sights on procuring it. To Lord Dalhousie, the imperialist Governor-General of India, the diamond was the ultimate symbol of power. He wanted Britain to own the jewel of India, as well as the country itself.
He was worthy of the Queen because he knew its power, he knew its history, and he knew that it epitomised superior British rule over its subjects.
Lord Dalhousie's opportunity finally came in 1849. Ranjit Singh had died, and Duleep Singh, a 10-year-old boy, came to be next in line for the throne. The British imprisoned his mother and forced Duleep to give them the Koh-i-Noor.
There's a land that was rich with civilization, rich with wealth, which was admired and sought after by many imperial regimes, and over the years that land had been dismembered. It had a lot of its wealth siphoned off to better and to uplift other civilizations across the globe. So what that leaves then is a land which is splintered, which is divided amongst itself, a populace that doubts its language, its heritage, and that trauma takes many, many, many years to get over and to put those pieces back together again.
The diamond was a special possession of Queen Victoria, who originally wore it as a brooch, and eventually it became part of the crown jewels. It made a public appearance in 2002 atop the Queen Mother's coffin. However, it was the death of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022 that saw the words Kohinoor begin to trend on Twitter. Many Indians were calling for the diamond to be returned.
Of course, as an individual, there was nothing but respect for the Queen because she always imparted herself with class and dignity, and that was undeniable. But it also marked a clear point in the Indian subconscious that this is the end of an era linked to India's darkest chapters.
But the Kohinoor has been stolen and moved countless times over its long history. The question remains, where might it go next?
Whether it's going to be India or Iran or Pakistan who lays claim to it, it is an entire contiguous area that has been traumatized by imperialism. I think to India it really represents a chance to put aside a lot of its darkest chapters of history, a lot of the fact that its wealth had been taken from its lands, and really provides a sense of addressing trauma, a chance to educate and inform the populace. It represents a chance to really think about drawing a line under many centuries of extremely dark history.
The history of the world's most famous and most controversial diamond continues to be written.
So again, this crown was supposed to be worn by this woman here, but she said, "I will not wear it when he became king." Because many people complain, give back the diamond to India. You stole it. Okay? But England does not want to give back the Kohinoor diamond. It's, I think, the biggest diamond in the world, and the British family took it. England took it when they conquered India. So India wants it back, and they don't want to give it back. Okay, so that is the story of the Kohinoor diamond. Please read more about it, okay? Let me introduce to you the vocabulary word for today because we are going to watch video number 2, okay? So these are the vocabulary words, okay? Please write them down on your notebook. Okay, write down the vocabulary words on your notebook and your pen, with your notebook and pen. Okay. The vocabulary words for today are looted or stolen, looted. Okay, as in England looted India, or part of the loot was the Kohinoor diamond. $1 trillion. Okay, this is not billion, no, $1 trillion. GDP, or how rich a country is, how big the economy is. Okay, claim. This is an argument. This is something you want to say. Okay, it's a claim. Astonishing. Okay, stunning. Astonishing and stunning are kind of similar. Surprising, like whoa. Okay, empire. We know this word. Proud. Contributions and stolen wealth or stolen property. Again, I will say them again. Looted. Repeat after me. You can say it after me. Looted. $1 trillion. GDP. Claim. Astonishing. Stunning. Empire. Proud. Contributions and stolen wealth. So I will give you 10 seconds to write them down. Okay, let's move on to, I think, the video. So after the video, we are going to do a quiz. Okay, so this is to prepare you for the quiz. Okay, you should know the answers to these fill-ins or questions. Okay, so when you are watching the video, I want you to write down notes on your paper, okay? Notes on your paper, because you should know this. You should know, I should say this. Okay, number one, England looted more trillion dollars between 1765 and 1935 from India. How much? How many trillion dollars? Number two, the amount of money that England stole from India is more times the amount of England's current GDP. Okay. Number three, blank, ding, 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 right? Percent of the British public feel that colonialism was a good thing. So like Japan, right? Japan thinks that colonizing other countries like Korea, Philippines, parts of China was good, right? So what percent of the British public feel that colonialism was a good thing? Okay. Number four, India once owned 23% of the global GDP, but after England looted it, they only had less than 4%. Whoops! I gave you the answer. Anyway, that is free. Number five, true or false? British students are taught about their colonial past. Is this true or is this false? Number six, true or false? The British became rich by working very hard. Number seven, true or false? England built, no, sorry, grammatical error. 잠시만요. It should be England. It should be the British or England, right? 네. True or false? England built the railways in India for the Indian people. And I think that's it, okay? That is your preparation. Please write down the notes while you are listening to video. This video, I think, is 7 minutes long, okay? And then we will go over the answer. Okay, so let's watch this video. I will, I think, put it quarter speed. CC.
A lot has been written and said about the British rule in India. If you read their version of history, you would think that the British Raj was the best thing that could have ever happened to India. But the fact is that the British looted India. A greedy and racist British Raj financed its industrial revolution by robbing India, and now there is more data to prove it. A study by Indian scholars reveals stunning numbers. The British looted as much as $45 trillion. Let that number sink in. $45 trillion between 1765 and 1938. Just so that you get a sense of how big this sum is, let me give you another figure. The amount of money that the British looted from India, $45 trillion, is 17 times the current GDP of the UK, 17. That's how much India, which used to be one of the richest countries in the world, was reduced to one of the poorest. But defenders of the British Raj would argue otherwise. They claim to have given India democracy, a free press and the rule of law. They claim to have built the Indian railways, taught Indians how to speak English and even play cricket. A British research company, in fact, asked the citizens of the UK about this in 2014. What they found is astonishing. Nearly 2/3 of British citizens feel that the empire was something to be proud of. They did well, they believe. And that includes their politicians. They share this belief. One notable member of this club is a former Prime Minister. When David Cameron was in office, he was asked about his thoughts on the empire, and he said, "There is a lot that Britain can be proud of." The timing of the statement was even worse. He was visiting the Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar in 2013. Listen to his comments, and I'm quoting. This is what the former British PM said. As I was asked the question yesterday, in terms of our relationship with India, is our past a help or a handicap? I would say that it's a help because of the shared history, culture, the things that we share, and also the contributions the Indians talk about that we've made. Contributions. No word on the colonial loot, no word on the misdeeds, the rampant abuses. That's a part of history that has been conveniently brushed under the carpet. It is a fact that British school students do not learn much about their colonial past in schools. Here's a quick eye-opener for them and for all those people who believe that the Brits helped India. This is what they did. The British imposed heavy taxes on Indian producers. The British stole goods and exported them around the world for a profit of 100%. The earnings were then used to finance imports of strategic materials like iron, tar, and timber from Europe. These were essential to the industrialization of the Great Britain. Due to loot from India, Britain had an impressive trade surplus that lasted for 3 decades in the 20th century. In fact, most of the so-called hallmarks, like the railways and the British architecture in India, were actually built by the Brits for themselves, for their own use, to help their own interests in India. These were no gifts for India or Indians. Take the example of the railways. The British built the network for themselves. No two ways about it. They used their own technology. Indians were forced to buy British equipment at high prices. The bill was footed by Indian taxpayers. We paid them for building all this. The British earned all the money. And now they want gratitude too. I'm afraid we can only give them numbers, and numbers they may not like. India's share of the world economy when Britain arrived on its shores was 23%. By the time they left, India's share was down to less than 4%. Why and how did that happen? Simply because India had been governed for all these years for the benefit of Britain. Britain's rise for 200 years was financed by its depredations in India. These are not my words. These are the words of Congress lawmaker Shashi Tharoor. Take a look at this.
It was a rare moment in Indian politics. Narendra Modi heaping praise on Shashi Tharoor for his debating skills. Modi was commending the opposition lawmaker for his passionate argument in the Oxford Union debate on whether Britain owes India reparations for 200 years of its colonial rule. The essence of Tharoor's submission was about the toll that British rule took on India's economy.
India's share of the world economy when Britain arrived on its shores was 23%. By the time the British left, it was down to below 4%. Why? Simply because India had been governed for the benefit of Britain. Britain's rise for 200 years was financed by its depredations in India. In fact, Britain's industrial revolution was actually premised upon the deindustrialization of India.
Modi said Tharoor's speech gelled with the feelings of patriotic Indians on the issue and also shows what impression one can leave with effective arguments by saying the right things at the right place.
As far as I'm concerned, the ability to acknowledge a wrong that has been done, to simply say sorry, will go a far, far, far longer way than some percentage of GDP in the form of aid. What is required, it seems to me, is accepting the principle that reparations are owed. Personally, I'd be quite happy if it was £1 a year for the next 200 years after the last 200 years of Britain and India.
The debate was entitled, "This House Believes Britain Owes Reparations to Her Former Colonies." It was organized by the Oxford Union, a debating society in the English city of Oxford, whose members are drawn from the University of Oxford. And just in case you're curious to know who won the debate, well, Tharoor's team won the debate with 185 votes to 56. Bureau Report. WION, World is One.
Handloom weavers, for example.
Sorry, where's my Papa go? I want to add new vocabulary word, right? Papa go. They use the word reparations, okay? Yung right, does the UKO reparations 배상금 new vocabulary word, okay? So there's does UK owe India reparations or 배상금, right? That is the question because they stole so much money, okay? And India became poor. Anyway, let's go over these again. Let's do the quiz. Okay, I hope you were taking notes, like I said. If you get the question wrong, it is okay. It is okay. We are going to go over information again. Okay, number your paper from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let's do it now. I will give you 10 seconds to do it. Number your paper 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let's start the quiz. Okay? Number 1, England looted $1 trillion between 1765 and 1938 from India. A, $35 trillion, B, $45 trillion, and C, $55 trillion. Which one is it? Okay? 5 seconds. Okay, number 2. The amount of money that England stole from India is times the amount of England's current GDP. Okay? What is it? India should be capital. Sorry, India. Should be capital. A, 7%. B, 7 times, B, 17 times, or C, 27 times. Okay? The amount of money that England stole from India is times the amount of England's current GDP. A, 7 times, B, 17 times, or C, 27 times. Okay. Number 3. Ding, ding, ding. Percent of the British public feel that colonialism was a good thing. Okay? This is the British people feel that colonialism was a good thing. A, 35%, B, 65%, or C, 95%. Okay. Number 4. India once owned 23% of the global, meaning the world, GDP, but after England looted it or stole it, they only had less than percent. A, 4%, B, 14%, or C, 24%. Yeah. So before, India was very rich, 23% of world GDP. And then after England stole, how much was it? A, 4%, B, 24%, B, 14%, or C, 24%. Number 5, true or false? British students are taught about their colonial past. True or false? 5 seconds. Okay. 6. True or false? The British became rich by working very hard. True or false? 7. True or false? It should be England. Sorry, Ken. I was going to put the British, but then I ended up putting England, but I kept they. Okay, so I will correct this a third time, I think. 7. England built the railways in India for the Indian people. Okay, England built the railways in India for the Indian people. True or false? Okay, let's go over them. Again, I think we only had 7. Was it 8? Okay. Let's very quickly go over questions again. Number 1, England looted more $1 trillion between 1765 and 1938 from India. Okay. Number 2, the amount of money that England stole from India is ding, ding, ding times the amount of England's current GDP. Number 3, blank percent of the British public feel that colonialism was a good thing. Number 4, India once owned 23% of the global GDP, but after England looted it, they only had less than what percent? Number 5, true or false? British students are taught about their colonial past. 6, true or false? The British became rich by working very hard. 7, true or false? England built the railways in India for the Indian people, or for the benefit of the Indian people. Okay. Let's look at the answers. 1 is England looted $45 trillion between 1765 and 1938 from India. A lot of money. Okay, this is why India became poor, England became rich. Okay, so the answer is B, $45 trillion. 2, the amount of money that England stole from India is 17 times the amount of England's current GDP. Okay, so imagine how rich England is now, times 17. Okay, that is how big, how rich India was. India was very rich. Okay, until England took away most of its money. It's B, 65%. Okay, so this is 2/3. 65% of the British public feel that colonialism was a good thing. So they think England was good. You know, it's just like Japanese students saying, oh, Japan had a really good history, we conquered a lot of countries, so on and so forth. So England, or the British people, feel good about imperialism and colonialism, where they killed many people, they stole so much money and properties, and they enslaved continents, like a whole continent of people, and killed continents of people. Very barbaric past. 4, India once owned 23% of the global GDP, but after England stole or looted it, they only had less than 4%. 4%. So again, India was the richest country in the world. This was in 16-something. Was it 1647? 1647. England was, India was the richest country in the world, and then UK took over, right? And this was in 1917. UK was stealing money from India. Okay. And then India sort of became one of the poorest, along with China. China and India used to be the biggest economies in the world until West Europe and America made them poor. And then we're back here. Okay, India recently became bigger than the UK again in terms of economy. So India is coming back. True or false? British students are taught about their colonial past. It's false. They are taught that British is good, England is good, and colonialism is good. They are not taught reality, the truth. They are not told that, it is bad. You killed so many people and you stole so much money. Yeah. Number 6, true or false, the British became rich by working very hard. False. I mean, I don't know. I guess enslaving a lot of people is hard work, or stealing money is hard work, but no, I think the enslaved people and the people you killed, they work harder than you, okay? So this idea of working hard, yeah, white people, they stole a lot from people of color. So it's false. 7, true or false, England built the railways in India for the Indian people? False, no. England built the railways for England, okay? They, just like Japan, right? Japan built trains in Korea, not for Koreans, but for Japan. Okay, they built train to take all the property and the goods from Korea to bring to Japan. Okay, same thing in England. They built trains in India, not for Indian people, but to bring back property and money back to England. Okay, so this is false. So I think that is it for now. Okay. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Maybe not enjoyed. That's a bad word. This is a very depressing history, but I hope you learned something. Okay, you learned something, and maybe do not look at England as a special country, or I want to go. I want to be an English person. No, they have a terrible, barbaric history. Okay, in some of our books, it's like England is the hero, America is the hero. No, I don't think so. Anyway, again, I hope you learned something, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.